This is going to be a very weird video because we need to discuss the Baldurs Gate 3 controversy, because what's very strange about this project is that it feels like every gamer loves it. It is now one of the biggest games ever on Steam. On Metacritic, it's actually the highest rated thing ever released. This is literally one of the best things that's ever come out, not just in 2023. Baldurs Gate 3 is a masterpiece by any measurement, from the gameplay to the combat to the great conversations to the voice acting to the graphics. This is the new gold standard. But for some reason, some game developers are actually mad that this game is just so good. They're upset that they might be compared to it, and they think that's unfair. Some game developers are even lying about the game, but let's discuss. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. So I spent the last couple days over here in Dallas, Texas at QuakeCon, and what was interesting to me is not only is this just a huge chance to play with hundreds, if not thousands of gamers, I was actually fascinated that almost everybody there, of this huge crowd of hardcore dedicated PC gamers, almost everybody, including myself, was playing Baldurs Gate 3. It's crazy that this game has just hit this pure fever pitch of hype and scale and love. And I think it's interesting because some people seem threatened by that. Now, I'm going to show you some tweets here, and a lot of these are screenshots that were gathered up in a video by IGN that surprisingly is getting them in a very strange amount of trouble. But it says this: the name of the video is Baldurs Gate 3 is causing some developers to panic. You can see this already has over 1 million views here in just a couple days. This game is rockstar level nonsense for scope. Only a few studios could even try this. I cannot wait to play, but this kind of effort likely won't be replicated this decade. Now, this feels weird to basically say, hey, I'm glad the game is good. You're not going to see anything like it for 7 years. I mean, that just seems like an absolute insane thing to say. This game, calling it foolhardy, this is a great thread about why using a singular game to set expectations for everyone developing titles in a genre isn't useful and is instead foolhardy. Now, I know these people are not trying to specifically tear the game down, but it does seem weird that you would say, hey, this game is so good, I don't think we should hyper-analyze it. This game is just so good, it should not really be compared to anything else. It needs to exist off in a corner. I want to look at this tweet specifically because it is a person that's in the game industry that somehow is spreading complete misinformation about Baldurs Gate 3. And people have been very fascinated about how a person that works with companies directly would not be able to get this information correct. But he said, please do not try and compare games going forward to Baldurs Gate 3. This is a game that had 6 years of development with 400 people working on it and insane funding due to the IP. So this is one of the main developers saying, what the heck are you talking about? There's been this weird conspiracy that somehow, like, Baldurs Gate 3 is based on Dungeons and Dragons. It's got dice rolls, it's got crits, it's got sneaking, it's got everything that makes Dungeons and Dragons great, just digitally. So it's fantastic. So people are basically saying Wizards of the Coast, which is the company that owns Dungeons and Dragons, didn't fund Baldurs Gate 3. We paid for the privilege of creating a game with this IP. They're saying, not only did we fund this, we're passionate. Like, that's the biggest thing to me. Baldurs Gate 3 is a game that has passion. It has an infinite amount of love for it. The guys that are working on the game are just constantly tweeting about how much they love playing it. Like, this guy's talking about knocking the Spider Queen into the Underdark by using a Thunder Wave, and people are being like, wow, we love the game. Give us more cool updates. And they're like, things are being cooked. I have never seen a game that is not just so loved by the community. The developers are just as obsessed with it as we are. That is so freaking cool to me. Like, it's so interesting to me that people are trying to step up and say, like, this guy works at Insomniac Games. This dude is somebody that definitely knows a lot about game development, that honestly makes good games. And even he is saying, you can't actually consider Baldur's Gate as the new gold standard. Look at that. Everyone who's playing Baldur's Gate 3, the bar has been heightened whether you like it or not. You have now become a corporate piggy. Wow, that's a lot of strange amount of hate here. People saying Insomniac Games is a small indie studio just like Blizzard. The difference between you and the Larian is that passion and artistry. I have to agree with this part of it. Obviously, this person is being overwhelmingly negative, and I don't condone that. No hate to anybody in this video, but I do think they nail that idea that Baldur's Gate 3 is a work of art. It is treated as this game that has an impossible amount of depth, of interesting possibilities from the way you choose to fight. Like, I discovered recently that I could set my weapons on fire. I actually started laying out candles and lighting arrows on fire. I just get my archers on the edge of a battlefield, dip their arrows into actual candles and fire them. I just think it's crazy to me that this game just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and people just keep loving it more and more and more. It's just so amazing to me that the game is launching so feature complete, bug free, no microtransactions, no stupid always online requirement. And I think people are reacting to that. People are going, hey, this is a game that's made with an artistic love and passion. And what's crazy is that some people are discussing the fact that this is an accidental win for PlayStation 5. A lot of people are talking about the fact that right now it's coming out on PlayStation 5 here right now in 2 weeks, and it's coming out here next year on the Xbox. And right now, everybody who only owns a PlayStation 5 is rushing to buy it. Everybody's pre-ordering it like crazy. The freaking PlayStation 5 pre-orders are skyrocketing. I mean, honestly, even this image of one of the coolest villains in all of Baldur's Gate 3, voiced by J.K. Simmons, the man himself. Oh, God, such a freaking good villain, too. The fact that this has this little PlayStation logo, this is going to sell a lot of consoles. I think it's interesting that Baldur's Gate 3 has become such a threatening tour de force. People are literally writing articles about why it's not fair to even praise it as much as we do. This is actually a detailed bit-by-bit article attacking IGN, saying, you don't know anything about the subject, you don't know about game developer, you're just simply angry. Look at this. Mad 'cause bad. Baldur's Gate 3 is launching in a polished state. Well, the game actually launched in early access. The game has had 3 years of polish and bug fixes due to early access. Most people aren't going to get that. Okay, look. Here's where I'm at. I have a chance to talk to game developers pretty often. In fact, even this weekend while partying at QuakeCon, I had people come up from a couple different indie studios and some major game studios and talk to me about my reviews and stuff like that. Times where I had played their games and talked about it in a video. And everybody was very, very nice, but I had a question for them, which is, how did they feel about Baldur's Gate 3? How do they feel about this new landmark occasion? And I'm dead serious about this. Every single one said the exact same thing in a slightly different way. They all said, the game is great, the game is perfect, the game is just so incredibly beautifully done. I hope my games can be loved like that. The game developers that I got a chance to talk to that are hardworking, that are dedicated, that believe in their projects, seem to say, hey, even if Baldur's Gate 3 ends up somehow being better than my game, that's fine. A rising tide lifts all boats. More people are going to be open-minded to a Dungeons and Dragons style game. More people are going to play something that's turn-based. More people are going to play a game that's just about actually existing in the ethos of a fictional fantasy world. I love Baldur's Gate 3. I gotta say, it's probably my game of the year, and I'm glad that most developers are realizing that even if this ends up crushing your game in sales or review scores, this is still a net positive for the industry. But thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and also keep dreaming. You know, I'm actually thinking about doing a special hardcore run. I really enjoyed Diablo back in the day, and they have that thing called hardcore where if a character dies, they get deleted. I kind of want to do a run where if a character dies in Baldur's Gate 3, instead of reviving them, I replace them with a different character or like a mercenary. I think it'd be interesting to try and perfectly play such a difficult game. I feel like I got to be extra critical. Man, I'm going to review the game a second time on PlayStation 5, by the way. I gave it a 10 out of 10 on PC, and let's hope it's a 10 out of 10 on PS5. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.